Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of the top 20 things that I would share with brand new buyers. I'm really excited about the remainder of this list, and number 2 and number 4 in particular are some of the ones that I wish I knew of when I was buying my first house. And quite frankly, just to be completely honest, I was a realtor back when I bought my first house, and these are some of the things that I wish I knew of and thought of and considered when I was buying my first home. So without further ado, let's jump right back into number 10. Number 10, it's really good for you to know that when you buy your home, your first payment isn't going to start until 2 months after your closing day. So if you close on June 5th of this year, your first payment isn't going to be not July, but August 1st. That is when your first payment will actually begin. And so this allows you this time of flexibility. So if you buy your home on July 30th or June 30th, still it's going to be August 1st. If you buy a home in July, it's going to be not August, but September 1st. So if you're renting, this allows you to not have a payment at all for one of those months to make that transition easier, or gives you flexibility if you're relocating to another city to not have to worry about that extra payment, and it makes a transition a lot easier. So just keep that in mind as you're starting out your search and looking for a home. Number 9, if you don't want to compete with as many buyers on the market, the best way to get the edge and a better deal is to buy during the holiday season, to buy during the Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. Ideally, between Christmas and New Year's, you will get the best deal out there because there's the fewest number of buyers looking, and the sellers that are selling during that time are probably the most motivated, because who actually wants to sell during a holiday season? Not this guy. Who wants to buy during a holiday season? Not this guy. So if you are and they are selling, the chances are you're going to get a really, really good deal, or you're not going to really have to bid up nearly as much as you would as just, quite frankly, just a few weeks after the new year where things are already revving up again. Now, if it's a buyer's market, this same thing still applies for you, that best time to buy to get the best deal and have the least competition by far is between those holidays. Tip number 8 is all about negotiating. How to get the best deal, or how to win when you're in a multiple competing offer. So I made this video right here where I give several different ways and approaches that you can look into when it comes to writing an offer and trying to negotiate the best deal. And it's an entire video that will definitely help you out. Tip number 7, and we're getting down to tip number 1, the most valuable one in my opinion. But tip number 7 is when you actually find and put an offer on your house, be very careful on changing your financial position. Don't change your job, and don't make any big purchases. Your loan is contingent upon nothing changing or no new information being added. If something does change, the bank's going to have to reevaluate your loan, and the chances is that it could affect your ability to get the loan that you currently have. So the safest bet is to don't make any big purchases and don't make any changes with your current employment until you close on your house. Tip number 6, as you're looking at homes, as you're going from house to house to house, it can get overwhelming to try to keep track of all of this house has a new roof. This house has a new furnace. I like the bedrooms in this one. To eliminate all of this, answer only one question as you go through every single house. And that question is this: do I see myself living here? That's the only question you need to ask the first time you go through a home. If you don't see yourself living here, well, then you don't need to answer or keep track of all of those other items. If you do see yourself living there, then that's where you can now take that extra time and look at the furnace, the AC, the windows, the siding, the roof, the foundation, and making sure that it's a good investment. But don't overdo it on the first time you're through a house. Let the agent care about all of the investment and making sure it's a good purchase, and just answer that question of, do I see myself living here? Do I see myself making a family in this home? Could I be here for 10, 20 years? And if you do that, you're going to make this process so much more simple and enjoyable that when it does come time to pull the trigger, you're gonna know without a shadow of a doubt that this is the right home for you. Tip number 5, I know I recently talked about negotiating the best deal for yourself, but here's the approach in a seller's market that you need to have. The mentality is if you put an offer in, you put an offer in to win. You have to have that aggressive mentality in a seller's market. If you don't, you're gonna be ran over by more aggressive buyers. And these more aggressive buyers typically have had the experience of losing over and over and over, and they don't want to lose again. They know what's happening in the market, and they want to make sure that this house is their house. So if you're going to put an offer in, put an offer in to win. If you're walking through the house and you're like, should I make an offer on this one? I don't know. The answer is no. Don't do it. Only put an offer in on something you are willing to compete to win for. That is the reality, and that's the focus you have to have. And if you do that, your odds are going to be much more in your favor to actually get the home than being half in and half out. Tip number 4 is when you start out the search for looking for homes, do this as fast as possible. Get into 5 to 10 homes as soon as possible. Get that right out of the way. If you can see them in the first day, do it. Because here's the reality. When you look at 5 to 10 homes right away, it tells you about what's going on in the market. You learn about what it looks like online compared to what it looks like in pictures. It also helps you build that confidence about what you want and what you don't want. Because when the right home does come up, if you haven't seen all these homes yet, you're going to get cold feet. You're going to question yourself if you're moving too fast, or if there's a better home out there, or are we being too aggressive? And those are all things that is going to cause you to not win on your offer. So get into 5 to 10 houses as soon as possible. Build that confidence on what you like and you don't like. Get an idea of what's going on in the real estate market in your local area by seeing these homes. And I promise you that when the right one does come up after that, you're going to know that it's the right one. You're going to know because you've seen all these other houses, and you're going to be more confident about pursuing it with an aggressive fashion than you would if you are just starting out and haven't seen anything yet. Tip number 3, your best bet to get the best rate with banks is to make sure you have a credit score above a 740. This is where the line is for the best rates. You don't have to try to strive and get an 800. If you're below a 740, that's okay. You can still qualify down to a 640. And in some cases, if you're really aggressive and you look for a bank, you could actually get qualified to buy a home all the way down to a 500. There's a bunch of other criteria that is in place, and if you want to know that, check out this video right here all about FHA loans, which allows you to get pre-approved down to a 500 credit score. Tip number 2, we only have 2 left. This one, we're going to talk about your parents. If you're a first-time home buyer, it's common for you to want to have your parents involved because you trust their opinion. But here is something that you really need to keep in mind. Parents want your best interest, so they tend to have a more critical view of everything that you're buying because they want the absolute best for you. They care about you. They love you. So it's very common when I take my buyers out and their parents come along, the dads or the mom is walking through the house and they point out every small little thing that is wrong with the house. And quite frankly, for a first-time home buyer, this can be very overwhelming to think that there's so much wrong with the house. But the reality is that every home has issues. Most homes have lots of things that could be better or could be improved upon, but very few homes actually have issues that could affect the home in a great financial negative way. So my encouragement to you is if you have a parent that is very good with this kind of stuff or is in this industry, then yeah, bring them along because they're going to have that expert eye that's going to help you. But if your parents are not aware of what's really going on in the market and you're just getting their opinion, but they don't have an expert's opinion, my encouragement is to buy the home first And then after you've purchased the home and you're doing an inspection or you're going through just to get measurements for your house, have your parents come check it out afterwards so they can celebrate and be excited with you about the home you just purchased. All right, and tip number 1, the last one on the list is this. When you're buying a house, don't just look at the house that you're looking at. Turn around and look across the street. Look at the house to the left and to the right. See what the neighborhood looks like instead of just focusing on the house. I've seen great homes in horrible neighborhoods. I've seen great homes that have been flipped and completely updated, that the pictures show this beautiful home that was just renovated, but when you get there and you look at the neighbors, it's like, ugh. This looks a little rough. I don't know if I'd want that as my neighbor or the house across the street. Here's the other thing about this is that your neighbors help determine your value for your home. So the nicer the area is, the more valuable your home will be in the future because you want a neighborhood that people care about taking care of. If it's more of a rental neighborhood, you're going to see overgrown grass. You're going to see dilapidated siding, chipped paint. You're going to see cars just sitting in the driveway. These are the things you want to look out for to make sure you're not buying a home in a bad area. So there you guys have it. There is my list of 20 things that you're going to want to check out and be aware of. I hope this was really helpful for you. Put in the comments below which one was the most surprising out of the 20 or which one was the most helpful. I would love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you like videos like this, and I love you all, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.